Hello again. This is the last time I will be on this stage today, and I just wanted to say that it is an incredible honor to introduce our next guest. It really is. In 2013, three incredible organizers, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Ayo Tometi, came together in response to the acquittal of the man who killed Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman. They went on to create a black-centered political movement which would grow to have a global impact. However, the needless loss of life continued with the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and many more. So what started as a simple hashtag, Black Lives Matter, born out of sadness and frustration, has become a global rallying cry for racial justice. Here tonight, yes. Here tonight at Web Summit to illustrate what the Black Lives Matter movement can teach the tech industry, please give a big welcome to the Black Lives Matter co-founder, Ayo Tometi.
Washington, D.C., a street just blocks from the White House now painted Black Lives Matter in giant yellow letters.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure, an honor, and my duty to be here at Web Summit alongside with each and every one of you. I oftentimes find myself really reflecting on this moment and wondering to myself, why me? I mean, maybe some of you have been in a position where you've asked yourself, looked back at your life, looked back at an experience that you're having right now and said, why me? Or even a, why us? Or why now? You see, the woman that is in this picture alongside my two sisters would never have imagined herself standing in front of an audience like this, talking about the urgency of now and the movement for Black lives. Never. I often would find myself over the course of my lifetime thinking about myself, projecting myself on to the historical narratives and wondering, who would I have been had I been born 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? And I find that I am now answering that question. I'm answering that question because the values still are the same, day in, day out, year in, year out. Black lives matter. They've always mattered, right? And why I ask myself, why me? I oftentimes am not doing that because I have some sort of imposter syndrome. Let's be clear, I know who I am, I know what I've done, I'm very proud of the work I've contributed and the work I've been able to do alongside so many others. But I find myself asking this because I'm actually an unwittingly not supposed to be here. Let's just say it like that. I am the daughter of Nigerian immigrants. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm supposed to be an engineer, an attorney, a doctor. There are so many stereotypes about what Nigerian immigrants' kids should be accomplishing. And I didn't quite fit that narrative. But I want to let you in on a secret. Part of why I didn't fit that narrative is because my parents taught me something unknowingly all throughout my years growing up in Arizona. They taught me the power of a tightly knit, connected community that looks out for one another. They taught me how to love and have pride in ourselves despite a society that would say otherwise. I watched my parents day in and day out look out for their fellow Nigerian immigrant as they arrived in this country, navigating systems, navigating oppression, navigating what it would sound like when they spoke up and their accent didn't match what the status quo thought of them. I saw my parents move with such clarity of who they are and who they are, I should say. They moved with such a profound sense of dignity and pride. Some of you may have heard of the term Naija pride. It's something that is so core to who I am, and it extends to who I am as a Black woman, a proud woman. Despite the racial profiling that too many of us experienced in Phoenix, I still had that sense of profound love and pride in my people. My parents taught me that our skin was a beautiful thing. There was nothing, we can clap for that. I mean, I think so. I know so, all right? They taught me that the texture of my hair was flawless. They taught me that pride. And they did so in such a way that when they had my youngest brother, who is 14 years younger than me, I vowed that I would do anything I could do to protect him. That included his psyche. That included the world that surrounded him and that would inform who he was and what he may think his possibilities would be. I'm a big sister at heart. I love my little brothers so dearly and would change the world to protect them, my goddaughters, and my little cousins and all. I started Black Lives Matter. Oh, let me go back to this other slide. Because to me, it is important that we have the impact we deserve. It wasn't enough for us to just believe and feel and rhetorically say Black Lives Matter, but it was important to me that we built the infrastructure to ensure that Black lives mattered. And it is why when I saw the words on the Facebook screen that my sister Alicia Garza wrote, I was so moved that I called her. And I said to her, I don't know what this is, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know what you're thinking, but although I'm already involved in social justice organizing, I want to build out a larger platform for us, a platform where we could be connected, a platform where we could amplify our voices and our stories, a platform that would invite the world to journey alongside with us as we lead this movement. I then went off to buy blacklivesmatter.com. I then got our Facebook page, our Twitter, and IG. And while I'd like to say the rest is history, we can tell it's not. I didn't know the many ways that we would have to use this platform. I didn't know that after Trayvon Martin was murdered, there would be many others. I didn't know Rakia Boyd, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, and so many others would need the platform that we created using the new media tools of our day. I had no idea, but I knew that the impact was what we needed. We are now being declared the largest movement in US history. I mean, it's a big deal. It is my honor and my duty to have ensured that we continue to work to ensure that we had the largest movement. We deserve it. Our communities deserve a better world. One where we're not criminalized for the color of our skin, where we're not gunned down because we don't have enough money to pay a bill. One we're not choked to death in front of cameras. Many would applaud us for this feat of being the largest movement in history. But the truth is that while some may applaud, there are others who would like to deny it, to obscure the fact, and would have many others participate in an ongoing malaise of apathy. But what this headline reminds me is that I get to have faith in us, and that we should have faith in one another, that we have the ability to be something we never had been. We can step into a new story. The status quo does not have to win. These statistics right here remind us that the mandate is not only one that is in the realm or the borders of the US. This reminds us that we, people of courage, people of conscience, are the majority. People who believe and have the audacity to act like Black Lives Matter, like human rights matter. We are the majority. And despite these types of overwhelming and beautiful statistics, we know that there are various odds that come against us. Be it things like trolls on the internet, be it a US government that has now weaponized the FBI once more. We've seen this in other movements, civil rights movement and so on. They now have created a term called Black identity extremists for human rights activists like me, where they get to survey us and once again try to undermine the success and the progress of our movements. We also see issues like troll farms that try to create content to distract our people from voting when it comes to election times. There is so much more to what tries to distract us and detract us. And I could spend a lot of time going there, but I won't today. What I want to remind us is that when Black people lead, when Black people win, when Black lives matter, we create a world where everybody benefits, where different peoples, different social movements find their voice, they find their strength. What I did here was post a couple examples for you. Just towards the end of last year, I'm sure many of you heard about the incredibly courageous and noble farm workers in India, right? You saw the protests. 250 million farm workers went on strike in India, protesting the privatization and the deregulation of the industry that would further make their lives and their work more precarious. They had the courage to organize. And you know what happened in the face of their organizing? They were met with a militarized police force, and they were met with a media, an international media that did not cover their protest. And so what did I do? I went to social media, looking for stories, trying to find out what was really going on. As a person who's committed to human rights, my love and my passion, my commitment knows no borders. And so while I was trying to find out what was going on and why traditional media wasn't really covering it, I decided to just make my own observation and post a critique. And that was a post that I made back in December of last year. And in it, I raised these questions. And the response to the post was overwhelming. Because as somebody who now has a platform, I recognize the privilege I have, right? And so I use the privilege I have and the people who watch my platform to say, hey, we must pay attention to this. And so from there, we saw reporters began to share more of the stories, to document. We saw more and more social media activists, influencers, celebrities, people who were also Indian who had not posted or shared about this protest, found their courage. They found their voice. And that's because Black people oftentimes lead the way. The thing about racism that many people forget is that racism actually exists on a continuum. It's not a binary issue. But the closer you are to Blackness, the darker your skin, the harder it usually is. And so what we find is that as those people who are most marginalized speak out, it gives way to those others to also join in and share their concerns. We also saw the same thing happen with the Washington football team just last year. A very pejorative term was the name of their football team. For years, we've talked about this. For years, we knew that if the US valued the lives of the entirety of its citizenry, they would not use this pejorative racist slur. Yet they continued on with it. And so, with the beautiful movement, the burgeoning voices, another community found their voice, found others who would partner with them to ensure that this football team would change its name. And they won that campaign. I am so excited for the time that we're in. We're in a time where technology actually can help us move things forward, move the conversations forward. But it has to do so in line with values that are human values, that are rooted in justice and in dignity, rooted in anti-racism first and foremost, rooted in a place where we know that we can have the types of democracies that we deserve all around the world. While, you can applaud for that. Tech has that opportunity. The question I pose to you all this evening is, why are you here? Why you? Why at this conference now? In the middle of a pandemic, right? Why are you here? Who will you be coming out of this conference? What side of history will you be found on? I, at the depths of my being, believe that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the solution. We have an opportunity to use tech to expedite the realization of our values. It's us. It's always been us. And it's time. The time is now. Thank you.